everyone, Amina here with the Float Small Business Podcast, speaking with Rob Allen, a Shopify expert and founder of Monumental. And we're going to be talking about how many businesses have started leaning into e-commerce and some of the things he's been recommending to them over the last few months. Thanks so much, Rob.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
First and foremost, how are you, both as a human being and as a small business owner?
Human being first. My wife took the kids out of the house for this so we could have quiet, and it's nice. Yeah, being, it's just a lot to try and work from home. And I know everybody with kids and not, just spending time at home in general, it's just a lot to go through for an extended period of time. I think it is a little comforting to know that it's a lot for everybody. So we're all kind of working through this together as humans.
Yeah. And how have you been as a small business?
Business has been interesting. I mean, it actually picked up, at least conversations started picking up maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
So we have a lot going on. The interesting thing that I've noticed is kind of a shift in the type of work. Of course, a lot more small businesses are looking to either bolster or move things online. The complexity for us, or the difficulty in that, is that a lot of the time those customers haven't planned for it. Those clients haven't planned for this move, this shift. And a lot of people didn't. It was a surprise, right? For a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
So the budget really isn't there. So how do we deliver something that works, something that does help bolster or, preserve some of their cash flow?
Sure.
But at the same time, survive ourselves as a small business, right?
Yeah.
Making sure that we're able to make enough to be able to pay payroll, and even looking at the amount of work that we have coming in, it really is pointing toward us needing to scale. We need another developer, which I actually have a job posting out there right now.
I saw that.
I need somebody else. How do we continue to grow again while also working on smaller projects? And I do think there is an economy of scale there, that at some point there's a tipping point in terms of how much we can accomplish and get done at a lower cost. I don't feel like we're there quite yet, but I would love to get there.
So you're still figuring it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I do really enjoy the types of projects that are coming up, though. I mean, I myself, I just love helping other business owners, other small businesses, specifically in Portland. Being able to help those businesses just brings a lot of joy to me. So I want to figure it out.
Yeah,
for sure.
What is it about those projects and those requests that are coming in that makes you so happy?
Yeah, great question. I think it's the enabling piece of it. A lot of people don't know how technology really works. They know how to get something done. And that's something that we see a lot with Shopify. Being Shopify experts, we see people who are able to set up their own website with relative ease, right? Anybody can go to Shopify, set up a website, and be online within hours. Mm-hmm. The problem is that there's a lot of underlying complexity that once you get to that point, once there is complexity introduced in your site, in the fulfillment process, in any of that, that's where, somebody who maybe could set it up on their own reaches a point of, gosh, I don't know how to manage this anymore. And I think being able to be that person who's like, you know what, don't worry about it. You can pretty much do anything with technology. You can create anything on the web. It's just a matter of tying the pieces together and creating that thing. So being that, I don't know, that helper. Mm-hmm. I'm a helper, I guess. It brings me joy.
So let's say I'm a business and I have pivoted to e-commerce. what do I have to really think about for the future? Obviously, you don't have a crystal ball, but what if this is a permanent thing? And what if I perceive it as a permanent thing, but then all of a sudden the virus goes away, medical experts prevail, science prevails, and customers have gotten used to shopping online now, and then now they're invited to come back into retail locations. Do you feel like there could be complexities there? What do businesses need to be thinking about on that front? Or is it too early to say?
No, I don't think it's too early. I do think that there is a shift that's happening that's going to be lasting, whether or not I'm able to drop everything and go on a whim to a retail location without a mask. Sounds like a daydream now, but hopefully we get to that point again.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think there are going to be leftovers from the experience that we're having right now that that have changed the way that I'm interacting with the business. I think we've seen it already, specifically with grocery stores. The expectation now is that I should be able to order online, show up, and either walk in to pick something up or even have you come to my car and just give me the things that I ordered.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to trickle down to smaller businesses as well. And I think there will be an expectation that I should be able to have a seamless experience where I see your ad on Instagram, I I tap over to your website, your e-commerce experience is shown, I add to my cart, I check out, and then I say, oh, I actually want to pick this up. You're literally right up the street from me. I'm going to go to your location. I should be able to show up, say, oh, here's my order. Here you go, Mr. Allen, right? Contactless. I don't have to pay there. I've already paid for it online. That's the experience that we're kind of, we're setting the expectations right now, right?
Got it. Yeah. It seems to me that having that diversification is what might protect businesses. So
For sure.
customers get used to one way, maybe they want to be in a different way. And if you provide both options, then you kind of insulate yourself from certain things becoming stale or just irrelevant over time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's actually a really good point. It brings to mind the term e-commerce. I actually don't really like that term because it's splitting it into another dimension, right? I'm focused on e-commerce or I'm focused on my brick and mortar.
Yeah.
It's just commerce, right? You are meeting the need of the customer wherever they happen to be.
Sure.
That's the goal, right? And so thinking about it more holistically and saying, I'm just trying to meet that need wherever they are. I think it does diversify automatically from that point.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because even if I think about my transactions with my favorite coffee shop, I sometimes I'm not even swiping a card anymore, and I'm just interacting with a digital device. It happens to be theirs. But
Yeah.
I'm in their store and I'm using what could be considered e-commerce.
Right.
Because it's an online platform that I could have used at home. It's just in their store.
Sure.
I would also imagine that for those businesses, I've personally talked to several businesses that have never done e-commerce before. Mm-hmm. And now they're just thinking about it. I can imagine that would seem like a pretty big uphill battle too for someone that's just never done anything like this before.
Yeah, for sure. Or what I've been thinking about recently is the number of restaurants or food carts that just rely on what they've been told. So if they've never done online ordering before, and they know that DoorDash or any of these other delivery services offer what they need, I could see them assuming that's the only path forward. Yeah. The reality, there are so many other options, but if you've never done it before and you don't have anybody to bounce those ideas off of, you're stuck signing up for a service that's taking a huge cut of your already slim margins.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So as you've been working with these businesses over the last few months, what are some of the common questions or maybe even pitfalls that you're encountering that you're advising people through?
I think a lot of people get stuck on certain aspects of their website or the experience. And I do think that there are certain things that should be paid attention to more than others. Um, every site is different. Every need is a little bit different. But from the top, SEO is obviously really important. If now everyone's mode of operation is to go to Google and search for that thing that they can't go to a physical store for right now, it's really important to show up there. Or it's just not going to happen, period. Nobody's going to visit the site. So SEO, speed, a lot of stuff is happening, I think, because we're trying to multitask more and more, right? We're watching the kids while we're shopping or doing all these things. We're on our mobile devices even more. I think that it was already a trend, right? We know that the majority of visits to websites, e-commerce websites, are mobile or through mobile devices.
Interesting.
So it was already the trend. I think this is pushing it even more in that direction.
Yeah.
And we're kind of fragmented. We're doing multiple things at a time. So making sure that the mobile experience is top notch, that it is fast, that it is not just usable. You don't just reach the website, but that it is a pleasant experience that has zero friction, right?
Right.
Things like that, I think, are the common thread across all the work that we're doing right now.
Yeah. I could see also there being a bit of a chicken and egg situation where, maybe I'm a coffee shop and I've had to furlough employees because the business just isn't there like it used to be. And so cash flow is not where it needs to be in order to A, survive, and B, hire a developer. But at the same time, by hiring that developer, you might get other systems in place that could increase revenue and cash flow. How are you proposing people navigate that?
Great question. We have a product called Guide Service, which is our version of a retainer. It's not like a traditional retainer where you're buying hours per month, and if you don't use them, you lose them. It's annualized. So you're buying a bulk set of hours over a year, and then you're paying for them month to month. We really like it because of the flexibility.
Yeah.
If someone comes to us and they say, I'm so focused on speed optimization right now, something breaks and they have to shift focus, they can just do that. We can say, okay, we'll get to that later, but right now the most important thing is fixing, your orders workflow, your fulfillment process, and then on the cash side, being able to solve the problems or fix the things that need fixed now. Yeah. In order to get to that cash positive or that more positive place. Yeah. That's one way that we do it. Working with smaller businesses too, I think it's a friend of mine says business is just a relationship that involves money, right? So we have the relationship first. We can talk about money. It's going to be beneficial to both of us if we come up with a longer term solution. If we say, you know what, we're not going to do a 50% deposit on this project. We're going to just agree with each other that it's going to turn into a 6-month thing. So let's spread those payments out over 6 months. Let's come up with something agreeable. And we have a couple clients that specifically out of the COVID situation we've been working with that way. And it feels, again, very positive to me because it's a relationship. Yeah. I want those relationships. I would rather have that than work on gigantic corporations sites based out of, somewhere else. I really want to foster community here and be involved in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I've heard that over and over and over again. And maybe I'm just in a bubble of people that care about each other, but that's a bubble that I want to continue being part of.
Totally.
Is there anything that you wish small businesses would consider that we haven't really talked about yet?
I guess consider the possibilities. We were talking about flexibility and the opportunity to kind of try things, being not just flexible in the moment, but wondering about what the next thing looks like. In part of our communication, I think I mentioned noticing tangential products or kind of value added products. So if I'm focused on making a certain thing and I'm very very much focused on that thing,
Mm-hmm.
there are always tangential products that make sense as a part of a package, right?
Yeah.
The example I threw out was McDonald's and selling, what was it, like 8-pound bags of ice, right?
Yeah.
That it's a very logical, in my mind, a logical product that you don't expect necessarily from McDonald's,
Yeah.
but that totally makes sense for them. They're earning $1 when otherwise, I would have gone down the street to the gas station,
Yeah.
and also getting me in the door, and I'm definitely probably going to buy fries, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so thinking
Yeah.
in that respect of kind of what are things that I know my customers are buying from somebody else that I could be making a bit more off of my product
Mm-hmm.
by adding those, but also potentially drawing people in for those that then add my product. So
Yeah.
it's definitely, I think, a potential boost to average order value, and even getting in front of other customers, different customers.
Yeah, I think that's great because when we're talking about flexibility, to me, that feels reactive. And what you're talking about is
Exactly.
being proactive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Rob.
You're very welcome. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me.